100 easy questions with could for English learners. Could I practice with you? Could you please repeat that? Could you speak a little slower? Could you explain that again? Could you correct my mistakes? Could you write that down for me? Could you tell me about your job? Could you tell me about your family? Could you tell me about your school? Could you help me with my grammar? Could you tell me about your hobbies? Could you show me how to use this app? Could you tell me about a band you enjoy? Could you tell me a little about yourself? Could you help me with my pronunciation? Could you tell me about your hometown? Could you tell me about a hobby you enjoy? Could you tell me about a job you have had? Could you tell me about a talent you have? Could you recommend a good book for me? Could you tell me more about your culture? Could you tell me about your favorite food? Could you tell me about your favorite music? Could you tell me about your favorite movie? Could you tell me about your favorite book? Could you tell me about your favorite holiday? Could you tell me about your favorite memory? Could you tell me about your favorite subject? Could you tell me about a musician you admire? Could you tell me about a skill you have learned? Could you recommend a good movie to watch? Could you tell me about a favorite family tradition? Could you tell me about a type of cuisine you like? Could you recommend a good restaurant to eat at? Could you teach me some new vocabulary words? Could you give me some feedback on my writing? Could you tell me about your favorite place to visit? Could you tell me about a festival in your country? Could you tell me about a hobby you used to have? Could you tell me about a TV show you like to watch? Could you tell me about a song you like to listen to? Could you tell me about a family tradition you have? Could you tell me about a famous person you admire? Could you tell me about a favorite childhood memory? Could you tell me about a place you would like to visit? Could you tell me about a type of food you don't like? Could you tell me about a type of music you don't like? Could you tell me about a skill you would like to learn? Could you tell me about a topic you are interested in? Could you tell me about a goal you have for the future? Could you tell me about a place you have traveled to? Could you tell me about a teacher who has inspired you? Could you tell me about a friend who is important to you? Could you tell me about a popular sport in your country? Could you tell me about a challenge you have overcome? Could you tell me about a country you would like to visit? Could you tell me about a book you have read recently? Could you tell me about a movie you have seen recently? Could you tell me about a place you have volunteered at? Could you tell me about a place you have visited before? Could you tell me about a traditional food in your country? Could you tell me about a favorite holiday you celebrate? Could you tell me about a popular festival in your country? Could you tell me about a current event that interests you? Could you tell me about a favorite childhood toy you had? Could you tell me about a favorite childhood pet you had? Could you tell me about a favorite place you like to relax? Could you tell me about a memorable moment in your life? Could you tell me about a favorite quote that inspires you? Could you tell me about a cultural practice in your country? Could you tell me about a common phrase in your language? Could you tell me about a common gesture in your culture? Could you tell me about a special event you have attended? Could you tell me about a famous writer from your country? Could you tell me about a famous artist from your country? Could you tell me about a holiday celebrated in your culture? Could you tell me about a famous person from your country? Could you tell me about a language you would like to learn? Could you tell me about a famous athlete from your country? Could you tell me about a goal you have already achieved? Could you tell me about a historical event from your country? Could you tell me about a famous scientist from your country? Could you tell me about a famous musician from your country? Could you tell me about a historical landmark you have seen? Could you tell me about a sport you enjoy playing or watching? Could you tell me about a historical figure you find interesting? Could you tell me about a favorite book or movie genre you enjoy? Could you give me some advice on how to improve my English? Could you give me some advice on how to improve my English? Could you tell me about a job you would like to have in the future? Could you tell me about a popular tourist attraction in your country? Could you tell me about a famous book or movie from your country? Could you tell me about a famous landmark in your city or town? Could you tell me about a favorite childhood food you used to eat? Could you tell me about a favorite food or drink from your country? Could you tell me about a favorite childhood game you used to play? Could you tell me about a famous historical figure from your country? Could you tell me about a favorite childhood place you used to go to? Could you tell me about a favorite hobby you have had for a long time? Could you tell me about a memorable experience you had while traveling? Could you tell me about a favorite book or movie genre you enjoy?